The plant of itself can't do a thing. It's connected. You don't see the connections. And nothing could be self-activated. Like a sailboat can't sail. It's acted upon by the wind. Oh, nothing is self-activating. We're all influenced by geophysical forces and things of that sort. Now, you don't see the wires connected to people, so we think we have free will. I can design a radio-controlled plane. It goes up and I make it take a loop and barrel roll and then land. But I can also design a plane with a chip in it, so it'll do a loop and a roll. And since you see no wires coming off, you think it has free will. But then, if it comes in for landing and there's a big hole in the ground, fall in that hole. They say, see? But if you put a sensor on to sweep the ground, it'll avoid landing in that area. See, it'll seem to be making decisions like a man or a person. When a guy says, hey, that's a nice chick, he's brought up in a given culture with a given set of values. If everybody had a nose a foot long, you guys would have surgery done to be accepted. Does that make sense? Sure. So there's no beauty. If you start bringing up people to concepts of beauty and you hold beauty contests, you hurt a lot of people. More girls are hurt by a beauty contest than the winner. And then all sports would be surpassed. Football, baseball, boxing, wrestling, all that stuff. Because I have a scene I want to do again in the movie of a Roman family coming to see Christians being fed to lions. And the little kid says, Daddy, can we come next week to see Christians being fed to lions? I want to show that that was normal in those days. Do you know what I mean? That you must understand the influence of a culture. So guys say, there's nothing like boxing, good boxing night, I want to cut, all that's conditioned, and they're pathetic. I mean, I really can't attack that because I'd be ground to a ribbon, because sports are big things. But they don't go to a ball game to watch two teams play, say Harrison was great, Michael did a good job. They root for their team, the Jewish American polo team, or this or that. You got all these different little guys rooting. This is dividing people. And so you must not do things to win approval. You do things because the job is necessary. I don't like a doctor who works for money. And they all do. When they say your kidney has to come out, you don't know if he's trying to pay off a new yacht or whether your kidney really has to come out. The monetary system, guys say, I got just the car you're looking for. Everybody you meet is out to sell you something, and I want to do away with all that because we can't have decency and ethics in a monetary system. I thought in working on the design of a global society that what I had put on paper sounded good to me, but I said, how do you know it'll work? Talk to myself. That's what thinking is. So I said, well, I don't know it'll work, but I certainly am going to try to see if it'll work. So I attended many Klan meetings, KKK, got the feel of the organization, and then proceeded to show them things that would contradict their statements. I didn't contradict them. I showed them things such as a person, and had a guy that was a great projector of his own values into everything he saw, and he projected his values into an image I had on the screen. And he said, you look like a good American and a kind person and a family man, a religious man. But then I pulled out the bottom of the picture, which I got in the post office. This guy was wanted by the FBI for subversive action against the United States. To help show this guy that it's not possible to look at a photograph of a person and tell about him. Sometimes you might accidentally hit, but in the whole you would hurt yourself. Then I would project a voice, and it'd sound like a guy talking about aeronautics with an English accent. And he tries to picture the guy. Then the image comes on later. It's a black guy raised in England, and that confuses him. So by the time I get to the sixth character, he says, Jock, I can't rightly say. Once he's learned to speak that way, even, that's a great move. Sure, he still has remnants of his feelings, but I undo it in a gentle way. You know what I mean? Until they no longer find that their earlier beliefs viable. They're no longer viable beliefs. But they think they're changing themselves. I put in the elements that change people. The Immaculate Pig is a descriptive system. I raise a pig, a baby pig, this is true, in a cage about the size of that table, about 3 feet in diameter, looked like a dome, only it's a structure. And I put a waste paper basket in the middle of the table, and it's sunken. And I put some scrap paper near the waste basket, which I anticipated the pig walking up and back will eventually knock it in the wastebasket, because it's in such a position to be knocked in. And when it falls in the wastebasket, it hits a micro switch, which deposits a little bit of food near the pig. And it takes the pig about 10 to 15 times in the basket before he knows that the paper in the basket causes the food to drop. So I then put a second piece of paper there, a little further away. So he puts the first piece in and nothing happens. And he sees the second piece. And associative memory causes him to pick that up and put it in the basket, then the food falls. Then I pull the basket up. I start with the basket down because it takes me too long to train the pig to pick it up and put it in the basket. But if you start low, all you have to do is pick it up then. Once it's left, he puts it in the basket. Then I put 3 dirty rags around. And I put a white jacket on the pig, a red cross lettering, the Immaculate Pig. So he comes into this dirty room, picks up all the dirty stuff, puts it in the wastebasket, because it says put waste here. The next thing I do is I make a bed for the pig on rollers, 2 rollers, so the bedding can roll. And I put the pig in a very confined environment, same pig. And he walks up and back like a man in prison or an animal in a cage. Then I put a roller connected to one of the rollers, and the pig will get up on it, adrenaline, and just turn it, because it only turns, and that changes the dirty bed sheet. Then the next thing is I want to teach the pig to take a shower. So how do you get the pig to take a shower? I bend a rubber hose around like the letter U. That's a little bit higher than the height of the pig. Then I put some bamboo strips into the upper section of a U shape. And when the pig exits his little house, he gets his back scratched. And they like that, so they go up and back several times. And once that's established, I strengthen that by depositing a little bit of food on each side every time he goes through. So it goes through about 6, 7 times. Then I put a jar up there with soapy water, and when he hits the bamboo strips, that turns on the shower. Then I run that film at a clan meeting, okay? That's the latest thing I do. And they're looking at it, and they're making all kinds of facial expression. They say, "Jack, I raised me a lot of pigs. I never seen no pig that smart. How come? How come that pig's so smart?" I said, the pig was brought up in a special environment where he was, and I explained it in very different language, conditioned to do all those things. But he keeps the place clean, changes dirty bedsheet, takes a shower. How come that pig knows all that? I said, no more than a human. Eventually they come up with, in their languages, so excuse me for using these words, the black man behaves like a black man because he's brought up in a black man environment. I said, right. If you brought up that black man as a baby in Ireland, he'd say, "Did you know by God that Lincoln was Irish?" You know, he would speak just like an Irishman if the black man was brought up in Ireland. Or if you took a nice Jewish boy and brought him up in Nazi Germany, he'd become a Nazi. See, it's the environment that shapes the basic values. Of course, the role models is what I'm talking about. If your heroes are pilots that shot down a lot of airplanes, a humanist would say, I wonder if that pilot slept well that night when he shot down that plane. He sleeps very well because they pin a medal on him. And when he burns a village, they pin a medal on him and put an X on the fuselage for all the villages he burned. So he feels proud and great. And the people in the concentration camp that turned on the gas chamber, normal Jewish people said to me, do you think those people could sleep at night? I said, they sleep very well, because turning that gas chamber valve to them means getting rid of monsters, because the way they were brought up, like we were taught about the Japanese, we even took American citizen Japanese and put them in our own concentration camps. You know what I mean?